This is an honor. Where's my girl? There she is. This is very special to me. This is an honor. Rachel Carlton has been a dedicated educator at Orange County Public Schools for 25 years. She is an alumnus of Orange County High School. She earned her BA in History and her minor in African American Studies. While at George Mason University, she was a W.E.B. Du Bois scholar. My girl's a scholar. And her academic journey to the University of KwaZulu Natal in Africa and South Africa. She completed an honor thesis there on Azulu women. After this, Rachel fell into teaching, devoted herself to raising her children. Rachel is the only teacher in Orange County Public Schools who has won the Academic Excellence Award every year since its creation in the spring of 2012. It's seen a lot. Students absolutely love and adore her. She was also the Orange County Public School Teacher of the Year in 2014, selected from all the teachers in the county. Yet, she will tell you that one of her greatest achievements is working with me, I think I'm going to cry, to create and sponsor Orange County High School's first Black History Celebration in 2010. I think we did 3 programs? 7 programs? Her greatest pride, though, is in her children's accomplishments. And this is phenomenal. Her oldest son, C. Clay, was a Jack Kent Scholar and a Foot Locker Scholar. And he graduated this May from the University of Maine. All right. And it's not over. Her youngest son, Solo, is also a Jack Kent Cook Scholar, a Gates Scholar, and a Ron Brown, remember Ron Brown? Scholar. And he is currently in his junior year at Harvard. I present to you my pride, my friend, Rachel, and I can't wait to see what she has to share with you.
I love you, Lord.
Always.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for allowing me time to speak about something I am deeply passionate about, the importance of African American studies, not just for African Americans, but for all people. For me, I've been learning Black history my entire life because of my beautiful, amazing mother, Linda Carlton. My mother always believed in teaching whole history. For as long as I can remember, my mother taught her children and her thousands of students stories of American heroes like our first cowboys, Nat Turner, to Nat Love, to Ida B. Wells, to Dr. King, to freedom fighters like Malcolm X and Angela Davis. What my mother always understood and taught me is my very point in delivering this speech to you today. In an increasing diverse and democratic society, understanding the full tapestry of our nation's history, including African American experiences, is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Learning the truth about such painful topics like slavery is not just Black history, it's white history too. But let's be clear, African American studies is more than just a class about slavery or civil rights. It's a rigorous, interdisciplinary field that explores the contributions, struggles, cultures, and innovations of Black Americans across centuries. We teach African American studies because we are not only correcting historical gaps and distortions, we are helping to build a more accurate and inclusive narrative of America. And when students from all backgrounds learn that history, they leave the classroom better equipped to engage in the real world, with greater empathy, curiosity, and commitment to justice. Let's start with local history because history begins at home. Right here in Orange County, we have powerful examples of Black resilience and contributions. Enslaved African Americans built Orange. Most notably, in the 1730s, they were employed in the iron mines by Lieutenant Spotswood in the Fort Germanna area in Locust Grove. Pension records show us that forgotten patriots from Orange County served in the military during the American Revolution, and they built the very road that General Lafayette used to Yorktown in 1781. James Madison's Montpelier, just down the road, was not home to just the author of the Constitution, but to hundreds of enslaved men, women, and children. Among them, Paul Jennings, who was born into slavery at Montpelier. He later became the personal servant to President Madison. He helped save a portrait of George Washington from the White House during the War of 1812. He went on to buy his own freedom, and in 1865, he authored the first White House memoir, and his story isn't just Black history, it's American history. And consider the communities that flourished in Orange County after emancipation, like the historic Black churches and the Oswald schools, which educated African American children when public investment in Black education was nearly non-existent. These were institutions built from the ground by the people who fiercely believed in democracy, even when democracy failed them over and over again. African American businesswomen in the 1840s earned Gordonsville the title, the fried chicken capital of the universe. When they greeted arriving trains with baskets of fried chicken and homemade pies, and their legacy continues with Cooper's cooking and catering today. And let's not forget, this is the hometown of Captain Andrew Maples Jr., a Tuskegee Airman in the 301st Fire Squadron, the son of a World War I vet. Unfortunately, Maples lost his life over Europe during a bombing escort in World War II. We also have Mrs. Edna Lewis, the Grand Dame of Southern cooking, the person most responsible for putting the slow food movement on the culinary map. She was born right here in Orange County in an area known as Freetown, a freedmen's community in Orange that was established by her emancipated grandfather, Mr. Chester Lewis. Orange's grade school, built in 1925, was built to replace the African American schoolhouse on West Main Street. It stood adjacent to present-day Prospect Heights. Mrs. Gussie Taylor was recruited to teach in 1925 and later served as a school supervisor and helped lead desegregation during some of our most turbulent times. This isn't just Black history, it's central to understanding the American experience. By understanding such facts, like if it wasn't for Black men and women, America would have lost every single war, is essential to our story of America. It was a Black man, Crispus Attucks, who was the first American to die at the Boston Massacre, and he sparked the American Revolution. It was James Armstead Lafayette, an enslaved genius from Virginia, who became America's first spy, and with his intelligence, we won the Battle of Yorktown, and thus the right to become a nation free of England's tyranny. Yet the hypocrisy for America to hold millions in slavery while demanding freedom from oppression is still important to study today. Yet Black heroism continued. In the War of 1812, thousands of free and enslaved African Americans served in the Navy. They actually made up 20% of our US naval forces. They also served in state militias. It was Black troops that defended cities like New Orleans. During the Civil War, over 200,000 Black men served in the Union Army and Navy. Black men are the reason why we won key battles like Fort Wagner and Petersburg. Black soldiers earned the Medal of Honor for their valor. In the Spanish-American War, over 2,000 Black soldiers served with distinction, including the famous Buffalo Soldiers. And let's not forget the Rough Riders, officially America's first U.S. volunteer army, and they're the reason why we won battles in Cuba, including the Battle of San Juan Hill, and thus spearhead Teddy Roosevelt's win of the presidency. And don't forget, in World War I, 350,000 African Americans served in segregated units. The 369th Regiment, also known as the Harlem Hellfighters, served 191 days on the front lines, longer than any other American unit. On May 15th of 1918, Henry Johnson, even though he suffered over 21 battle wounds, becomes one of America's greatest soldiers. He fought off by himself a German raiding army with his jammed gun, grenades, and a bolo knife, not only defending himself, but his wounded comrade. His actions earned him the nickname Black Death. Even though France had been celebrating his victory for 100 years, America overlooked him like they have done so for thousands and thousands of black heroes. It took until 1996 for Johnson to be awarded a Purple Heart, 2002 for him to be awarded Distinguished Service Cross, and finally the Medal of Honor in 2015. And I gotta just go for a little bit more wars, I'm sorry, but I have to explain the full story, I'm sorry, y'all, all right? In World War II, over 1.2 million black Americans served in all branches of our military. Roles included combat roles, service supply units, medics, and engineers. And as you know, the Tuskegee Airmen flew over 15,000 missions with a stellar escort record. Black women served in the Women's Army Corps and Navy Waves, performing the most vital administrative and medical tasks that saved millions of American lives. World War II began the desegregation movement in the military that transformed into civilian life and sparked the civil rights movement. Our first war after military desegregation was the Korean War, and 600,000 black troops served. Despite integration, many faced racism from white soldiers and their commanders. Yet they served to defend America's ideologies of liberty and democracy during the Cold War. And in Vietnam, 11% of our US forces were made up of African Americans, even though they were only 10% of our population. Black soldiers have always been overrepresented in combat roles and have a higher casualty rate in Vietnam of 25%. Influential voices like Muhammad Ali opposed the war on moral and racial grounds, helping to spark the anti-war and civil rights movements that continue to inspire us today. And today, from the Gulf War to the War on Terror, black service members continue to play vital roles to defending our democracy. As recent decades, African Americans make up 20% of our active military. Great leaders such as General Lloyd Austin, who had a 41-year career, retired 4-star U.S. general, became the first black U.S. Secretary of Defense in 2021, and he served until 2025. But let's not forget, too, it is black women who rose to leadership positions and broke glass ceilings, not for only their daughters, but for women of all races, too. So let's honor people like General Hazel Johnson Brown, the first black woman to be general in the U.S. Army. And then I'm coming to my point, so thank you for hanging there with me. Understanding the role of African Americans in our nation history is vital today, especially when the former directors of the FBI and Homeland Security have stated that white supremacy is increasing in our country and around the world. Their hate poses the greatest threat to our democracy. Research backs up the importance of Black history. A 2021 study by the University of Pittsburgh found that students who took African American studies have an increased civic engagement, improved academic performance, and a greater empathy of people of all backgrounds. The Southern Poverty Law also notes that inclusive history and education reduces racial biasness and promotes a healthier school climate, which we all need in this age of mass shootings. And when all students of all races learn about Black history and African American contributions, whether it's in music, science, literature, or law, they gain a deep respect and a deeper understanding for the richness of American innovation. There's also a very powerful connection between African American studies and democracy itself. Democracy thrives when citizens are informed, active, capable of critical thought. African American history is a masterclass on how people have challenged injustices and expanded American democracy, from Frederick Douglass to Ida B. Wells to Fred Hampton to Kristen Clark. By studying Black resistance movements, students learn how ordinary people can do and make extraordinary change. And we cannot ignore the present. At a time when books are being banned right here in Orange County, and when certain histories are being silenced, and we have an increase in racial tension and division, the solution is not less history, it's more. More truth, more understanding, more inclusion. When we teach African American studies, we teach every student, not just Black students, the opportunity to see the United States with clearer eyes. We stop telling half stories, we start telling our story. So let me end with this. Teaching African American studies in Orange County or anywhere in America is not about guilt or blame. It's about learning to love this country, not blindly, but bravely. It's about honoring those who came before us and equipping those who come after us to build a freer, more just world. Thank you so much.